In every generation, there are moments of choice. And throughout the course of human history, there have been moments of consequence determined by a few moments of choice. How you answer the question, which side are you on, that's what matters. This will stick with you for the rest of your life. This is such a moment. A moment we will look back on history and say, that's when we started to turn things around from the fascism that was built in the last 4 years. Or this is a moment when we failed to use our hard fought for right to vote, especially for such moments. And it all went badly, badly wrong. Moments when we use our vote as a protection for the most vulnerable in society, to preserve whatever semblance of rights we have right now, free speech, to organize the ACA, to fight against the destruction of our limited path to change, to fight for the ability to expand that path. This is one of those moments. RBG is gone. Her death did not create this moment, but her death has brought into stark view what is at stake in this election. On her tiny frame, she carried us a very long way forward. Not perfect, but a long way forward. And now it is on us to carry her work forward and preserve whatever semblance, partial, potential progress in the future over the protection of rights that we have, all for the future. And to set up the future of the Supreme Court through reform, potentially, and maybe even a few seats that we could gain for future generations. That is what is on the line. Neoliberals love saying it's about the right to choose in that Supreme Court. It is much more right now. It's about fighting fascism. It is about putting up an actual resistance to Trump, and this is the greatest form of resistance, using your hard-earned vote to fight that off, to win the Senate. Remember her dying wish, RBG's dying wish, was that her replacement would be appointed by the next president. That could happen before the election, and the outcome could potentially decide the election if the Biden campaign does not do its job. The Biden campaign, we talked about this in the Majority Report just a few minutes ago. The Biden campaign made a very conscious decision to appeal to centrist Republican voters. It was a danger, because it's not like it was to expand the base. It was essentially in exchange for the base, thinking the base is going to show up in the face of fascism no matter what to fight Trump. 200,000 deaths in America, in the United States, from the effects of COVID, from COVID. That's where we are right now. And Biden, in some ways, rightfully thinks that is enough to fight Trump. Trump declaring New York City, Portland, Seattle, anarchist cities so that he can defund those cities, so that he can amp up police, militarized police in those cities, and potentially in a neighborhood near you. That is what is on the line right now. Our vote that has been expanded, that has been fought for with blood, tears, sweat. We know our history. That is our resistance right now. It is about fascism. It is about the courts being decided. And if Biden, let me make this very clear, if Biden does not amp up the base and the excitement in the next 42 days, actually even earlier, right now, then it could be so close that the Supreme Court does decide this election. But that is only if it gets that close. David Axelrod said it so well right after 2016, when everyone started throwing out allegations against millennials, against Bernie supporters, against Russia, whoever it was. And David Axelrod said, in the days after the election, it should have never been so close. The entire Trump strategy is about slicing away a little bit here, a little bit there, bringing in Kanye into the race and whoever else to try to split up the vote, to sow confusion and sadness. And what's happening is that it's death by 1,000 cuts, right? Death by 1,000 cuts. If you're confused, if you're angry at the Democrats, it's easier to be angry at the Democrats because we know that space so well, because we fought that space for the last, several years. We fought neoliberalism, and that is to Trump's gain because he wants to deplete enthusiasm on the Democratic side. And Joe Biden really is not doing enough to fight back against that right now. So if you want to defeat fascism, it's about enthusiasm. We're in a really tough spot with the Senate right now. Let's roll that clip. Dorsey, can we put that clip up of Mitt Romney and what he announced today?
I recognize that we may have a court which has more of a conservative bent than it's had over the last few decades. But my liberal friends have, over many decades, gotten very used to the idea of having a liberal court. And that's not written in the stars. I recognize.
So there you have it. Mitt Romney, who likes to pretend don't forget, this is the Republican nominee in 2012 against Barack Obama, who fought against the Affordable Care Act, even though he passed something similar in Massachusetts. These people do not play by the rules, and we know it. So let's stop pretending like we are fighting people who play by the rules. They are trying to get a conservative justice. And so suddenly all of those centrist voters who were fighting fascism now see a conservative justice as a path forward with Trump. So Mitt Romney, or John Kasich for all we know, John Kasich, a conservative, a religious, anti-abortion conservative, may now be siding with the base of the Republican Party because it comes down to a justice. That's what's on the line when Joe Biden decides to sell out progressives and excitement for a few votes. It might be slice and dice on the Republican side. That might be their strategy, but it should not be for us. We really do have to have a big tent. We really do have to have that enthusiasm so that we do not get to a point where judges, justices, conservative justices are determining the outcome of this election. A Supreme Court is determining the outcome of this election. Donald Trump, every time we show up on the streets, Donald Trump now says rule of law. And he's using it as an opportunity to use the power he has to suppress our voices, our vote, our message, and make a statement about us so that he can excite his base. What is Joe Biden doing? This shouldn't be about calling out the Republicans and their hypocrisy. This should be about showing the entire population what is on the line. It is much more now about our anger towards neoliberals. This is about the small path that we have in fighting fascism. But if we don't use our vote, our power, this moment, that path could be eliminated forever. I wish that this was just, rhetoric, and this was a way, and I was using fear tactics, but the reality is that if you look at history, these are the moments that it comes down to. So, I really don't know what else to say right now other than the fact that we have to be doing all we can in our power to, people ask me, like, what should I do right now? I'm really angry at the Democrats. I feel you. The Democrats went after me personally. I personally get it. I am angry too. So I'm using my power right now to make phone calls for people like Marquita Bradshaw in Tennessee, a state that used to be a Democratic state, to get back Al Gore's U.S. Senate seat. Some people are making calls for people who can win back the Senate. Some folks are making calls for DAs. Some folks are calling for state Senate races so that we can fight back gerrymandering, as we are in the middle of a census and we're going to have redistricting very soon. We have to use all of the tools available right now because this is about something much, much bigger than our anger at neoliberals, which, let me tell you, if we have a neoliberal in the White House, or a neoliberal as coming from a state, New York State, where a neoliberal is our governor, he moves on things because progressives, which he relies on to win, shine a light on his hypocrisy. But that is only because we don't have a Republican as a governor and we have a Democrat. So we have to make sure to preserve the path that we have open for protest. And if you don't feel comfortable making calls for Biden, I hear you. Make calls for other folks because that will build the excitement. And Biden campaign, if this wasn't a wake-up call to get that base energized and excited and stop focusing on those unreliable, disloyal Republicans who could shift back over to the Republican Party in one move, then this is that wake-up call. This is the wake-up call. Thanks for watching and listening to The Nomiki Show. But remember to click like and subscribe on YouTube, and please share on social media. If you're not already a patron, please join us for as low as $5 a month on patreon.com/The Nomiki Show for early and special content.
that investment makes a huge difference. We are not corporate media raking in the dough. It's really you guys that are keeping us going. So please consider being a patron. And to our current patrons, thank you so much. We are incredibly grateful to you. We also now have swag. So check us out on the nomikishow.com to get your mugs, your totes, and your stickers.